KRLD FM and HD1 Dallas, Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
This
the Cowboys will go to the Super Bowl.
is the SWBC Mortgage Dallas Cowboys Legends Show.
Tony Dorsett has scored his first touchdown as a pro.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Tony Hill, touchdown! Tony Hill!
Brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Mahindra Tractors. Get the best 7-year warranty in Texas. And by SWBC Mortgage. Prepare to win. Call SWBC for all your insurance needs. Now, your hosts, Mickey Spagnola and Bill Jones.
It is a Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and that can mean only one thing. It's time for the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys Legends Radio Show, and it's brought to you by SWBC Mortgage, and I am Bill Jones, along with Mickey Spagnola, here at the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Mickey, it's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas around here.
I'm starting to feel it now. You know, I'm kind of getting in the middle of this football season, and Christmas kind of sometimes just gets in the way.
It does.
And I'm just seeing, as a matter of fact, I told somebody, I said, who came up with the idea to put Christmas in the middle of football season?
No kidding.
Exactly. And we've got a very special guest. And you know how you know it's a very special Legends guest this week, Mickey?
Tell me.
It's because we got the big room here.
That's right.
The big room here at the Cowboys Club is reserved for only the biggest of Legends guests. And that would be this time. Last time it was Roger Staubach, right?
Yeah.
All right. This time it is the one and only Charlie Waters.
Well, thank you, Bill.
Hello, Charlie.
Well, great to be here.
It's great to have you here.
It's a lot different than the tin building on Forest Lane that we had our practice field.
This is Charlie's first time out here.
First time out here?
Yeah,
Really?
what a zoo. I mean, This is just nuts. It's great.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. And what a genius move. That Jerry Jones has got a good feel for these kind of things.
He definitely does. You see the Christmas tree out there in the Tostitos Championship Plaza outside.
Oh man, it's just everything is so incredibly over the top, but people accept it. It's awesome. It's
right?
Great. We love it. It's just the way it is.
Since you brought up the facility on Forest and Abrams, what was your thoughts when you first walked in that place?
Well, I had seen a brochure that they'd sent to us when they drafted us, and it was really slick. It was a nice brochure. I was going, this is a great facility, and then we walked in. It was a tin building, and they had the hotel at the back of the practice field, and of course the Cowboys had to rent up all the hotel rooms because you couldn't. You didn't want anybody out there watching
like spying on you, right?
And so the Cowboys just rented them up every game. So yeah, it was a little different.
There was no Cowboys Club there, huh?
No Cowboys Club. This is a little bit different than the tin field. The tin practice field.
Well, and our live audience here at the Cowboys Club at the Star has now joined us. We've gotten rid of some gremlins here. And so let me, for the live audience here, give a proper introduction to the great Charlie Waters, our Legends guest tonight.
Thank you.
There we go. There we are.
That's very nice. Thank you.
We've got Smacker Miles with the wireless microphone down here. So anyone here in attendance at the Cowboys Club here at the Star, if you've got a question for Charlie Waters, we're going to be here for the next hour. We're on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. We're on DallasCowboys.com streaming as well.
Yes.
So you can watch us there. And Smacker, how are you doing?
I'm good. Happy to be here. How are you?
Doing very well. Doing very well.
Make sure you stir these people up and let them know this is a participatory show. Is that a word? Participatory?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
And this is your chance to, you always wanted to ask Charlie Waters something, you make sure you ask him.
And her name is Smacker. Smacker, tell Charlie how you
explain
got your
that,
name.
Smacker.
Well, I want to hear that.
First off, let me give Charlie the background on Smacker. Smacker is the daughter of Les Miles, former LSU and Oklahoma State head coach. She's been working for Dallas Cowboys television and radio.
What a character. I mean, he's
Who, Smacker or Les?
Les.
Oh, okay.
Smacker, I assume, is as well.
Yeah, and Smacker graduated University of Texas on the swim team at UT, and now she is wading into television waters, broadcasting waters. And so, Smacker, how'd you get your name Smacker?
I smacked my lips together when I was a newborn,
Oh,
and
my
we moved
gosh.
around, and then it got put in a heat sheet for
I mean,
swimming,
they
and
actually
it
call
stuck.
you Smacker?
Absolutely. I've never been called Catherine by either of my parents, not once.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's a great nickname.
Thank you.
And Smacker has one brother who plays football at North Carolina, another brother who plays football at the University of Nebraska.
Yep.
So
Football
athletes
family.
run in the family.
I guess.
So your mom must have been a great athlete.
She played basketball at Central Michigan, so
Really?
she was an
Awesome.
athlete,
And
and she coached. That's how they met.
And, of course, your dad as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Not Michigan.
Of course. Yep.
That's right. All right, so while we're on the subject of college football, how about the Clemson man here? You going to win another national championship?
We got a chance. I mean, it looks really good. It's really fun watching them. I have to admit, it's a lot different than what it was when I played there at Clemson. We had Frank Howard that was my coach, and boy, I learned a
He's
lot.
a legend.
I learned a lot about stuff, but I didn't learn a lot about football when I was there. And when I got drafted by the Cowboys, I really changed. It changed an awful lot when I got with Tom Landry after being with Frank Howard for quite a while. But Clemson's a great place to go to school. I mean, it's fun. It is really fun, and it's
love the coach. Love Dabo.
Dabo is so into it, and he is. I love him, and everybody in the state loves him, and you understand why, because he's brought a championship there. And they're legitimate. I mean, they are, by golly, legitimate. They can play ball. And last year, they wouldn't go away. They just would not go away. It was so much fun to watch it. So
do you stay involved with it? I mean, you follow it? Or?
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, I support them.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the highest dollar guy there, but I love the Clemson Tigers. I mean, it was just fun being there as a player, you know, and as a student. And for the 4 years I was there, I love my time there. So
Deshaun Watson is about to be the highest dollar guy.
Yes, he is.
Clemson.
Yes,
and it's just a shame he got hurt this year. He was having a great year for the Texans.
They've had a couple guys with Carson Wentz going down with an ACL. I know about the ACL. I had the ACL.
1979.
It's legitimate.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate injury.
It was back then. It was really legitimate. They didn't,
it certainly
they didn't
was.
have the same.
I mean, it was nearly always career-ending, wasn't it?
It was. Yes, it was. But I came back and played 2 more years after I had my injury, and I limped around, but I did okay. I played with my head.
Okay, so how prevalent were ACL injuries back in the 70s?
They were,
because you hear about them left and right now.
They're around. They were around, and they were career-ending. I mean, most guys just quit. You had no chance of making it.
Did they not do surgeries?
They did surgeries, but the rehab from the surgeries were just not stout enough to recover. I mean, it was just hard to get back. It was just so very, very devastating. Just tore your whole leg up. I mean, I knew when I stepped on it was artificial turf at Seattle, and I did it to myself when I was covering a tight end. I just planted my right leg on the turf, and I felt it blow up. It was like a bomb blowing up in my knee, and I knew it was over. I knew that instant that my career was over. I thought it was over. So I did come back and play a couple more years with great young guys like they have out there now. I mean, I had Everson Walls. It was my first his first year in the league when he had 11 interceptions. I had
Michael Downs.
I had Dennis Thurman, and so I mean, I had a lot of, and I was the only veteran in the group, and boy, it was great. It was great playing back in those days. It was great playing my whole career. Everything I've been through was fascinating and fun.
Have you had a chance to look at these young pup DBs they're playing now?
I haven't studied them as much as I should be, but they are impressive. They got some swagger about them, and I like that. And because they're sure as heck, they did a good job last week.
Yeah, they did.
That's pretty dadgum good, you know. And Heath is starting to perform at safety. And if we can get Sean Lee back playing every game, we probably win every game.
Seems that way.
He's got a nice little statistic going with him. When he plays, we win. You know, so let's get him. Let's get him out on the turf.
Truthfully, he's basically been out of 5 games this year, and they've lost all 5
That's
of the
right.
games.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And with a 7-6 record, do the math. Yeah.
So
he's a player.
You went through this as a rookie. What's the toughest transition from college to the NFL as a rookie corner or safety?
Holy mackerel. I think the overall intense amount of the portfolio of plays that are thrown at you and how good the players are at running routes and how complicated it is at all the details that you have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it is, and I loved it. And that's the reason why I made it in the league, because I embraced it. I enjoyed studying it and learning about it. That was the biggest thing, it was just so much different, a bigger gap in performance and also plays and being able to study, and that part of it, the making sure that you were on board with what was going on, and that was the biggest difference in between college and pro ball.
And you've seen it from a player standpoint, but then you also coached in college, and you knew what it was like to bring these young guys along.
I coached in NFL for 7 years, and I coached 1 year in college, and I love coaching, and I had to get out of it because we lost our son, but I love coaching, and it's because I enjoyed having coaches coach me. You know, that's what I liked about it. So, it's great. There's a lot of smart players out there, and those smart players. Give me a smart player, and I'll get you a winning team.
You know, we have the legends come through here each week, and that is the common denominator among the legends coming through here is they're all smart players.
They're smart players.
There's something to be said.
Something to be said about guys that can think.
Yeah,
you know?
You can go back the last half century in football, and
we
the
had
smart players seem to
We had all these hand signals, and we just would give them hand signals, and all my guys knew exactly what I was talking about, you know, and with the hand signals, and poof, you know, and you were a good player.
All right, we're just getting started here with Charlie Waters on the Dallas Cowboys Legends Radio Show. We are at the Cowboys Club here at the Star in Frisco. Again, a reminder, we've got a wireless microphone here for the live audience, and we expect questions from you for Charlie Waters when we come back in just a moment.
Oh, honey.
Back.
It's a touchdown. It's a touchdown. Oh, Big Ben struck midnight.
To the SWBC Mortgage Dallas Cowboys Legends Show. Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
The Dallas Cowboys Legends Radio Show from here at the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Bill Jones with Mickey Spagnola, and our special Legends guest this week is the great Charlie Waters, and it's brought to you by SWBC Mortgage. For more than 40 years, SWBC has been helping people, companies, and financial institutions prepare to win in Texas and across the country. Visit SWBC.com to learn more. And Smacker Miles has the wireless microphone. I know that there are questions just begging to be asked out here in the live radio audience.
Yes, we have some excited club members that have a question for Mickey, actually.
Oh, no, this is supposed to be for Charlie.
Oh, go for Mickey. Go, Mickey.
Hey, Mickey.
Oh, Keller.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, you guys.
Happy birthday to you.
You don't have to sing the whole song.
Happy birthday, dear Mick. Okay, now we're going to go to a question from Boomer.
Wait, is this your birthday today?
Monday.
It was Monday.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Should I
happy
blow
birthday.
it? Should I
and
blow
you
this
got
out?
a candle that
No,
was
let's let it go for a while.
Not a cake brought up here,
That's
but
good.
a candle brought up here. How many candles did they need to bring
at
up
our
here?
age, that's all you need is a candle.
Okay. How many?
One candle.
One candle.
Yes.
For all
those years.
All those years.
49 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, since we're on that, I had a write-in question for Charlie, by the way. There was a lady here with a group, and when she found out you were the guest, she goes, "Oh my gosh." She goes, "When he was a rookie, he came and spoke at my elementary school."
No way.
But she was a student at?
Yeah, she wasn't a teacher. She was a student.
Well,
and she said, "Oh, and he was so cute, and he had this long hair."
Long hair.
Yeah.
I was a hippie.
Down to your shoulders.
I was a hippie.
Tom was okay with that?
No.
He was?
But I was.
1970?
It's the 1970s. Yeah, we were rebellious because of the Vietnam crisis. You know, it was pretty rough times in our country back then. You know,
Right.
so we all were very rebellious.
Hey, Smacker, are you still there?
Smacker.
Yes.
Smacker.
And before Smacker starts, thanks a lot, you guys. It's the crew from our charter flights on American Airlines that we go on the road with. So got a little group here tonight.
Isn't that nice?
Isn't that great?
It is nice.
It's full.
Hey, Smacker, can you believe, and I know you can, that Charlie Waters was such a huge heartthrob amongst Cowboys fans back in the day when he played?
I believe it. We have lots
He still
of
is, right?
women
Thank you.
in the crowd.
Yeah, look at all the people that are here.
We have a question from Boomer. Here he is.
Boomer.
How you doing, Charlie? Happy birthday, Mickey.
Yeah, thank you.
So I would value the opinion of one of the greatest people to ever play the game in the defensive end of the ball. Where is the Cowboys defense struggling, and what can they do to fix it?
Nice one.
While he's thinking, I'll just say keep Sean Lee healthy.
Yeah, that'd be a really good thing.
That's a
Sean
good start.
He's a playmaker. You can see things change when he's playing out there. And everybody's got a certain swagger about him when Sean's on the field, because things happen, and it's not by accident, because he's a bright guy, and you know, knowledge is Aladdin's lamp, and if you ever want all your wishes to come true, you need to learn stuff, and he learns stuff. He's a really bright guy, so yeah, it starts there, but you know, it also starts with the defensive line. It's always the front line, and it's just the same way on offense. If the offensive linemen are great, then your offensive running back is going to be really good. He's going to be great. Your quarterback's going to be great. And the same way with the defensive team. If your defensive line is great and they're putting pressure on you, then you're a better linebacker and you're a better defensive back. So it starts there. So that's I know that's kind of 101 football, but that's it. It's pretty simple. That's the way it works.
Now, for those of you who were not in elementary school in 1970 and maybe do not realize this, But the man seated to my far left here, not Mickey, but Charlie.
Thank you.
41 career interceptions, which I think is just the perfect number of career interceptions for number 41 in your career. Mickey.
Yes.
Do you know who holds the NFL record for most playoff interceptions?
I do.
That does not. Those 41 do not include the playoff interceptions.
It includes the man that's sitting to my left, by the way. Most playoff interceptions in NFL history. 9.
That gets you up to an even 50 in your career.
So I'm in second behind Mel Renfro. Mel Renfro's an all-time interception leader
for the Cowboys' career,
including playoffs. And then I'm second. I don't know who else is third. Probably Everson.
Yeah, he had a ton.
And even though Everson had a short career with us, he could intercept.
Yes, he could.
And by the way, your record's safe because the guys that are tied with you are retired. Ed Reed and Ronnie Lott.
That's right. That's good company.
That is.
Right?
Ronnie Lott.
Think about that. Those two guys and this guy here, Charlie Waters, along with Bill Simpson. I don't know if anybody will remember
Bill Simpson's
him.
from Buffalo.
Yeah. Absolutely. 9 interceptions.
That means I played in a lot of playoff games.
Well, you played in every year of your carear but one, right?
Yeah, all but one, yeah.
74 was the only year you guys didn't qualify.
Yeah, I think I played in 29 playoff games.
I think
Something
you're right.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's a lot. We played in the playoffs a lot.
So
we only missed it one year.
So did you think when you and Cliff got here and you got in the secondary and they went right to the Super Bowl that, hey, we got
we got this figured out. We went the first 2 years and you were going, oh, this is easy. We're going to go every year.
Well, they went 5 times.
Well, you went 5.
12-year career, 5 times.
We did go 5 and started in 70 and we went 2 times then. And then in 75, we started again when we had the Dirty Dozen, when we got all those draft picks, Randy White and Bob Rooney and Randy and Thomas Henderson.
Randy Hughes.
And gosh almighty, we had a good crop of young kids coming in. And
they were kids to you 5 years later.
5 years later, yeah. And I'd already been in the league for 5 years, and I moved over to strong safety. And I loved playing strong safety. And
did you get most of your interceptions at safety?
Yes, I did.
You could see everything, right?
I could. I knew what was going to happen before they did.
And so you moved to safety in 75?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, but as a cornerback, I'm looking at your stats right here.
I was a quarterback, in college.
Yeah. But as a cornerback, you had 5 picks your rookie year in 1970, 2 in 71, 6 in 72, and 5 more in 73. So your first 4 years in the league, you had 18 interceptions.
Yeah, and that's at corner, and you know why? Because they were throwing at me. They didn't want to throw it at Renfro. They wanted to throw it at me, the white guy at the other corner.
So let me ask you this. And I know the answer, but I'm going to set it up this way. Okay. How many interceptions did you have in college?
I had 0 because I was a quarterback in college.
And you moved to wide
receiver.
I caught 68 balls in my senior year at Clemson, which for a team that doesn't throw the ball.
Back in the wishbone era.
And that record stood for a while. Till
sure did.
Jerry Butler, I think
That's exactly right. Jerry Butler from, what did he play, Buffalo?
Yeah. I believe it was Buffalo.
Yeah, I think it was.
All right, so this great career, and I've heard this story before.
They don't want to hear all this stuff.
Yes, you need to hear this one. He almost didn't make the team as a rookie.
I got cut.
You did get cut.
I got a call from the Coach Myers, that called me. He says, "Look, you got to go see Coach Landry at 12:15 today or something."
And this is the end of training camp?
No, this is during training camp. Right, we were at the Holiday Inn in downtown Dallas, and they had cut me. He says, "They said, look, we're going in another direction."
Bring your playbook.
What direction is that? I don't want to go in that direction.
So what did you think? It was like
he said, "Bring your playbook to Coach Landry." So I knew exactly what it was all about.
Your world just came to an end.
It came. My whole world just died right in front of me. And
so what happened?
He called me back about 20 minutes later and said,
Oh, I got the wrong Charlie Waters.
We made a mistake, and I said, "Are you S-ing me?" I mean, he says, "Don't you ever cuss me, boy." I said, "Boy."
They made a mistake.
They made a mistake.
Well, they couldn't count to how many they needed on the team?
No, I don't know anything about it. I just know that they didn't cut me. And I was really glad that they didn't cut me.
And you were a third-round pick, right?
I was a third round. I was a gamble.
Okay.
I was a Gilbrand gamble.
Yeah.
And over time, they drafted me as a future safety. And Cornell Green was a safety at Dallas, and he was really good. I didn't know anything about defense. I was a quarterback.
Never played defense.
I never made a tackle in my life.
So as the years went along, did you ever go back to Coach Myers and say, "Why did you do that to me?"
I did, and he said, "Well, if you know Coach Myers, he didn't give me any kind of answer at all.
Yeah.
You know, he just said, don't ask me. That's not your problems."
So the guy that they came that close to cutting in 1970, his rookie year, wound up with 5 interceptions, and basically had an opportunity when Cliff.
I was on the all-rookie team.
Yeah.
I started in the Super Bowl because Cliff started. He was the starting free safety, and then he had his National Guard unit got called up to active duty for the Vietnam crisis. So Cliff had to leave.
I think it was 6 games.
6 games, and I started those 6 games, and I got 5 interceptions in those 6 games. And got a couple in the playoffs as well.
So when Cliff came back,
Cliff came back,
he got his job back or no?
The next year when he came back, he won his job. He was a better free safety than I was. I was a good free safety.
Well, he had played it before.
He had good point. That's a really good point. You know, I mean, I like that. I like where you're going there. So yeah, it was good. It's kind of nice that you get to play the position before you. Get a chance to
baptism by fire.
Yeah. So.
All right, we are with Charlie Waters, our Legends guest. Get your questions ready here at the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco, and the Dallas Cowboys Legends Show continues in a moment.
Looking for a real workhorse for your land, Texas?
It's a touchdown. Oh, Big Ben struck midnight.
To the SWBC Mortgage Dallas Cowboys Legends Show. Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
And the Dallas Cowboys Legends Radio Show is brought to you by SWBC Mortgage. For more than 40 years, SWBC, helping people, companies, and financial institutions prepare to win in Texas and across the country. Visit SWBC.com to learn more. Bill Jones with Mickey Spagnola. Charlie Waters is our Legends guest. And Charlie, before we go any further, what are you up to these days?
Well, let's see. I'm real close to retiring, I hope, from the oil and gas industry that I got into after I finished coaching. And I'm hopeful that I can retire real soon on that. But I'm also working on let's see if I can explain it simply.
It's a project.
Oh, it is a project. It is a absolute genius idea of that. Of course, I'm not the person that thought of it. But it's about using what's it called? I'd say
like virtual
reality.
Video.
I guess it's the best way of saying it.
Yeah.
Is putting the camera at the point of view of the quarterback, trying to teach quarterbacks how to read defenses better.
Really?
Because I from a quarterback, I was a quarterback in college, and I knew. And then the reason why I was a pretty good safety was I figured out if I looked at somebody on the offensive line, he's going to tell me what's going to happen. They're going to dictate to you what's going to go on. And the same thing holds true with quarterback. If you look at a certain player on the defense, and you can tell by listening to Tony Romo do his games, how good is he at that?
Right.
Think he's got it figured out? Mm-hmm. I think he does. Well, virtual reality is the shortcut way of teaching a quarterback from taking the ball from the point of view of his eyes, and at any moment he can freeze it and toggle it up to the stadium to where it's the it's a bird's eye view,
like the all 22,
like the all 22 that everybody gets, that has been trained their whole life. That's the only thing they've ever seen as football players is the all 22. That's the only thing they ever look at. They never look at it from the point of view of the quarterback. And that's what I've developed. And I've developed something, and I'm sticking with it. It's a difficult sell because it's so different and new. And I've got a great partner in Lance Losberg who works with Samsung, and they've got some help they're doing with us, and we're trying to present it to high school kids right now. We tried to initially take it to the pros, and they were too big for us. They thought, we know everything. We don't need
That's because they've got our Jacob Wallraven over here.
We don't need you.
He operates the camera at the Cowboys practice where they try to get the bird's eye view.
We don't need you. We know what's going on. We don't need you. So the high school kids, they need us. They need to learn, and we can help them.
And what a market that is.
What a market that is. And we are hoping to. We're just hoping to maybe do some good for them, just help them out a little bit, teach them a little bit.
And you can look at film, and you let the quarterback put the little headset on.
Boy, they look at when they watch themselves. I mean, they get so fired up. I mean, they get excited when and they can look at everything. It's 360 degrees, and virtual reality is the future of
everything.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
And this is entertaining, but it teaches you. I mean, and I know,
constructive.
And I know what I'm talking about. I know a little bit about this, so it's fun to work on.
So it sounds like he's staying busy.
I'm staying too busy. If I could retire from the oil and gas business, I might be able to get this other thing going.
There you go. All right, Smacker, you got the wireless microphone. Who do you got?
A question from Driscoll.
First off, I want to thank Jerry Jones for a very Jerry Christmas party last night here at the club.
Oh, boy.
And we had a crowd and we had a ball.
How'd Jason D. Williams do?
He was unbelievable. He was all over the place.
You mean y'all actually have parties up here every once in a while?
Yeah. They do.
Thought so.
So, know a lot about your interceptions and your defense and being a quarterback. But I don't know how many people realize that you blocked 4 kicks in 2 games in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
That's pretty strange little statistic. I blocked 2 punts in a playoff game, the last game of the season against the Rams. We lost the game. Roger didn't throw a touchdown pass after I blocked the second one. And I told him I was going to block the second punt, and
and Captain comeback.
So I just want to let you know, and I'm blaming this on Roger. Because usually when you block a punt, you win the game. I mean, when you get 1 punt blocked, you usually win the game. I had blocked 2 punts in the same game, and then the next year, the very first game of the season, the next year, I blocked 2 punts again at that game. So realistically, I blocked, because we lost the game at the end of the year when I blocked the first one was against the Rams. So we lost both games. When I blocked 4 punts in 2 games, and we didn't get anything for it. Usually you just win, but we didn't win. So.
But do you people realize what type of athleticism it takes to block a punt?
Let me just say this. Thank you. That's very nice of saying that. But I had Randy White and Thomas Henderson rushing from the inside, and they had to block them. They didn't want to block. They didn't care about blocking me. They had to block those guys.
You still have to get there.
I got there. And then, because I was a holder for extra points and field goals, I understood what centers did. I understood the rhythm that centers had. So I'd studied those centers, and I knew how to block bunts. I mean, Gene Stallings was the coach of the.
He was special teams coach.
He was the special teams coach for the for the punt return.
Okay.
And he taught me how to block punts. I mean, there's an art to it. I mean, you got to take a certain angle, and you got to. I mean, you don't give it these. You give it this.
You were the outside guy.
I was the outside guy.
Did it hurt?
No, but I did. I got kicked in the crotch one time, and that hurt.
That hurt.
Yeah, I got a picture of that. And it's not
that's good.
It's not pretty. It wasn't pretty.
What was the pre-draft process like for you?
Pre-draft?
Pre-draft, like today they have the combine.
Oh,
it gets televised and all that stuff. What was it for you back in 1970?
I got a call from the Los Angeles Rams. No. The Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
And they called me and they said, "Look, we're going to draft you next in the 3rd round as a wide receiver," because I was a wide receiver then. I moved from I was not a very good quarterback.
Did you run a lot?
I ran a lot.
But imagine if you had that virtual reality technology, you would have been a great quarterback.
If I'd have had it then, boy, I'd have been a great quarterback. So Green Bay called me, and I thought Bart Starr was going to be my quarterback. He said, "Look, we're going to draft you in the next round, as a 3rd round, as a wide receiver." I said, "Great, let's get it going." And then I get a phone call, and it's Gil Brandt. He said, "We just drafted you as a defensive back." I said, "What? A defense? What do they do?" So
back then.
So did the Cowboys draft you before Green Bay got to it, or did Green Bay change their mind?
No, the Cowboys draft. They had the draft pick right before Green Bay, because we were in the playoff game that year before, with Green Bay. And lost.
So you had no idea, like, going in?
I didn't know.
I didn't
know. Come here from Sikkim. Okay, I didn't know very much at all.
But as far as the pre-draft process, did they get a 40 time on you or anything like that?
Yeah, the Cowboys came in. The Cowboys came in and got.
Remember what you
They did a lot of studying on me. They did. I mean, Gil Brandt did his homework. He had some guys in there, and They got a good 40 time on me. I was a 4.5, which is pretty fast.
Yeah, sure.
Especially for 1970.
It's 1970, yeah.
Wasn't Bob Hayes, but
No, and I played against him, and let me tell you, I didn't stand straight ahead looking at him. I turned around and got the other way.
Got ready to run.
Got ready to run when Bob Hayes got a that guy could run now. I'm telling you. Now
you're in your own starting blocks.
I got my own starting blocks. I don't care where you're going, Bob, but I'm going to be in front of you.
So you didn't get invited to the college all-star game?
I did.
You did? You played in it?
I played wide receiver.
Did you really?
I did that. I played in the game in Lubbock as wide receiver, and then the game in where you played the
defending
NFL champions.
In
I
Chicago,
played defensive
Soldier
back.
Field.
I played defensive back. And let me tell you something. You talk about lost. Lost. I was lost. I played defensive back. I said, look, I don't want to play defensive back. I'm a wide receiver.
Okay.
Well, you're drafted as a defensive back. You're going to play defensive back. I said, well, okay.
So would that have been? Who would that have been against?
So it would have been
I
the
think
69.
It was Green Bay.
No,
Jets?
it would have been 69. It would have been the Jets, right?
The Jets.
Jets.
So Joe Namath was throwing passes at you?
Yes.
So you played against, to start the season then, you played against the defending Super Bowl champs and the Jets, and then you played in the Super Bowl that same season.
That's
your
correct.
Rookie season.
That's correct. Yeah. And I started at free safety against the
Baltimore Colts.
Which
is a game the Cowboys should have won, if not for a controversial call by an official.
We had the ball on the ends, on the fumble.
That's right. Dave Manders recovered it.
And he kicked the field. They got Dave.
Jim O'Brien.
Jim O'Brien kicked the field goal at the end of the game. But I knew he was going to make it because he's really a cocky guy. He's very confident. He's very confident. He kicked the ball right through there, and I knew he was going to kick it right through there. So.
And of course, the Cowboys the next year went on to win the Super Bowl 24-3 over the Dolphins.
That is correct.
All right, we continue with Charlie Waters on the Dallas Cowboys Legends Radio Show in just a moment.
Oh, honey.
It's a touchdown. It's a touchdown. Oh, Big Ben struck midnight.
To the SWBC Mortgage Dallas Cowboys Legends Show. Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Final 10 minutes or so of the Dallas Cowboys Legends Radio Show, brought to you by SWBC Mortgage from here at the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. For more than 40 years, SWBC helping people, companies, and financial institutions prepare to win in Texas and across the country. Visit SWBC.com to learn more. Bill Jones with Mickey Spagnola. Charlie Waters is our Legends guest this week, and Smacker Miles with the wireless microphone. Smacker, take it away.
Here's John.
Hey, this isn't football related, but Charlie, how do you pronounce your middle name, and where did that come from?
Holy mackerel.
Somebody did some research.
I'm going to curse you.
That's what Wikipedia does.
I'm going to curse you.
Name on it.
My dad, we had 4 boys in our family, and I was the youngest of 4 boys, and they ran out of family names, so he named it after a guy that he worked for, a guy named Charles Tutan. Tutan.
Charlie Tootin Waters.
Charles Tutan Waters. Tootin. And I always used to go with Charles T, you know.
Why?
Because it was so goofy. That was a goofy name. It's Tutan. I don't know where it came from, but I know where it came from, but I didn't know the history on it and all. But I know it was a good friend of my dad that gave him a job, and he just ran out of family names because we had too many boys in the family.
And you just hope no one
and
ever
I got
found
and
out
I got
what
it.
your middle
And
name
I got the bad name.
Other people got normal names. Your other
my other brothers got normal names.
And he got stuck.
And I got stuck with Tutan. I think it's pronounced Tutan.
So you never kind of used it?
But hell no. No, I haven't ever used it.
Okay.
So not many people know that. My buddies know it.
Yeah.
My buddies know that name.
All right, Smacker.
Yes,
Smacker,
we're
you're
gonna
good,
let
Smacker.
him
Good
stop
move.
talking about his middle name
You're
and
on
go
a
to
roll
a question
here.
from
God almighty.
Susan.
Hi, Charlie. I just want to
Hello.
know if there is a funny story that you can share with us from your playing days.
One funny story.
Edit it down.
Oh boy, from the football story part of it? Funny days?
You want me to set you up?
Go ahead.
So this weekend, the Seattle Seahawks tried to go into stands and fight a fan that threw a beer at them.
Good gosh. I thought about that. That is a funny story. This is the funniest story in the history of the world. But thank God I lived through it. It was at the end of the Redskin game. Theismann.
And you're at RFK.
At RFK, which was an old baseball field that had a dugout that took us to our locker room. And Theismann, at the end of the game, runs back to the end zone and taunts us by holding the ball above his head. And it made me mad, and Randy White mad, and a lot of us mad. And we all took offense at it, and we took it out on Theismann, and we tried to get the ball out of his hands and just trying to get a fumble from him, because that was the end of the game, and he took a 2-point safety. And if we could have just get the ball out, we could win the game. And so, but the fans and the defensive and all the offensive linemen didn't take, they took exception to me and Randy, treating their quarterback kind of badly. And a big fight ensued. I mean, it was a huge fight. I mean, it was just both teams. And it was just right there by the stands, right there by the dugout that took us to our locker room, and fans were throwing everything on us. And then we finally stopped, the officials stopped the fighting, and we got ready to go up go through the dugout, and somebody crawled on top of the dugout and hit me over my head. I had my helmet on with a full bottle of beer and broke it on top of my helmet, and it burst all over me. And I look around, I look up there, and he goes, "Hey, yeah, that's me. Come on, yeah, I mean, come on, I did that." And I said, So I looked around, and Randy White was right with me, and he says, "Let's go." So we crawl on top of the dugout, and we're just wailing. I mean, we're hitting everybody we can hit. We're kicked out of the league. We're never going to play again if anybody got that on camera. Randy White, the best player in the history of the world, would never have been, because he would have been kicked out of the league. I was gone for sure, because we were wailing away on him, on the top of the dugout, and that was the funniest. It was hilarious.
Did you get to the guy that did it?
I got to the guy. I got a punch on him as hard as I could, and I had all my garment. I had all my gear on. What's he doing? He's an idiot. I'm gonna. And Randy White, of course, if it hadn't been Randy, if it had been somebody like Cliff, I said, I'm not going.
I could see Randy's eyes.
Randy was, he was just vicious.
You know where Randy got that, don't you? From his mom.
His mom.
You've heard the story about his mom in the stands. I think
no,
I can't remember.
I love that.
May have been Philadelphia.
It was Philadelphia. Somebody either spilled something on his sister, or it was another beer, something or the other.
The whole Manster family is there, and Momster.
Momster.
She turned. I think she had. Nunchucks.
So Randy said for protection back in the day. I don't know if everybody's old enough to remember this, but they used to have this thing called a blackjack. Right?
Yeah,
it was a stick, and you would wrap electric black tape around it and make a big ball, and you could boom. She pulled the thing out of her purse and started beating the daylights out of the guy in the stands.
Eagles fan in Philly.
That's where Manster gets it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he got it. Comes the Momster. I love it.
And then there was another game in Washington where they came into the locker room and said, "Hey, Randy, please come and get your family. They're beating up some guy in the hallway."
I love it. That's him. I mean, that's him. Did
you give Randy his nickname?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did.
So when did that happen?
When I figured out he was part man, part monster. And he became the Manster. Part man, part monster. He was
so did you start calling him that, or you tell the guys in the newspaper that this is what I'm calling
I started calling him that. I just started calling him that.
It stuck.
Because, by God, he was a man-made monster.
You know what? He still is.
He's the baddest man going. He's the best football player I've ever seen in my life. And, hey, Coach Landry called me over one time to the sidelines and told me what defense we were working on, defenses and stuff. And then just before I went on back on the field, he said, "Hey, you tell Randy White to stay on sides and quit jumping off sides." And I go, "Oh, yeah, okay, Coach." So I go back on the field, and I call the defense because I'm running the defense, and I say, "Okay, we're going to run this, and say, Randy, Coach Landry tells you to keep up the good work." Because I couldn't do it. No, I wasn't going to give him any grief about anything.
If Coach wants to tell him that, the coach can tell him that.
Coach can tell him that, for sure.
All right, we got another question over here.
Great.
Here's Philip.
How you doing, guys? I'm a coach, not a football coach, but a tennis coach. But
coaches are coaches are coaches.
There you go. I love hearing stories from the player's perspective. So, with Coach Landry, two-part question. What's your best story with Coach Landry where you were scared the piss out of you? And then on the other hand, what's your funniest story that you look back and still today you still get a great laugh about him?
And you got about a minute.
And you got 1 minute.
I can't tell two. I'm going to make it in one because one's just basically the same. Gosh almighty. He comes. We're getting ready to go to play a practice. We're going to go practice at a field that is raining because it was raining in Dallas. So we had to go to the Cotton Bowl to practice. So we're riding in the bus to the practice field, and Coach Landry comes over and sits next to me and says, "You're not gonna. We're gonna go ahead and we're not gonna let you play this week. We're gonna go ahead and let you play. Another position." And I said, "Well, Coach, what are you talking about there?" And he says, "Well, I'm talking about I'm talking about you just can't really, you're not going to be able to play this guy the way you've been playing him the whole time. I'm going, okay, well, gee, Coach, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do all this stuff that you're trying to teach me. And he goes, well, I don't want you to learn. I don't want you to do what I told you to do. And I'm going, you don't do that. You know, you don't say that.
We're
to
out
me.
of time,
so anyway,
Charlie Waters.
That was it.
Thank you, Charlie Waters.
Thank you, Charlie.
When was the last time you had a chalk talk kind of